Hi, my name is Kevin O'Mala, and today we're going to explore hereditary hemochromatosis. Hemochromatosis simply refers to an iron overload in the body. This term was first noted by Daniel Recklinghausen in 1889 in one of his journals, but it wasn't into clinical significance until 1955 when Finch and Finch finally formally recognized it as a disorder. Today we're going to learn more about who it affects, how it affects them, and even speak to someone who has a disorder. So, who's at risk for acquiring hereditary hemochromatosis? Anybody who acquires two dysfunctional copies of the HFE gene or the hemochromatosis gene is actually at risk. But the population most prevalently known to have the disease are Caucasians with Northern European ancestry. In fact, sometimes the disease is known as a Celtic curse. So the disease doesn't really have any risk factors because it's genetic, but the risk factors apply to the symptoms. The risk factors can determine whether the symptoms come early and how hard they really hit the person. So the risk factors include alcohol, raw seafood, and foods high in iron, obviously, because that can affect the iron levels in your body. Now we're going to speak to someone who has a disease, and they're going to let us know more about their lifestyle.
Hi, my name's Darren Williamson, and about 2 years ago, I found out I was diagnosed with hereditary hemochromatosis.
So how did you find out that you had hereditary hemochromatosis?
I played basketball, and I found I was getting, early fatigue, really fast. And then I also noticed, over these past couple of months, my weight's been slimming down quite a bit. And I've, had a loss of my appetite from what I usually do. So, I decided to go to somewhere like Walgreens and get over-the-counter medicine, and that wasn't working. So then I thought enough was enough, so I went to the doctors. And then we ran some tests, but eventually we came up to the blood test. The results came in, and I found I had iron in my blood, which means I could have hemochromatosis.
The HFE gene is located on chromosome 6. The HFE gene produces the HFE protein, which is in charge of regulating another molecule called hepcidin. Hepcidin is also a regulatory molecule and is considered the primary iron regulation protein. Mutation in the HFE gene leads to unhealthy levels of hepcidin and consequently hemochromatosis. The two most common mutations are the C282Y mutation and the H63D mutation, although the former is much more common and clinically significant. As of now, there are no known factors that influence mutation or inheritance of the mutated gene. The symptoms of the disorder can be dependent on factors such as age and gender. Men typically display symptoms between ages 30 and 40, whereas women begin to display them around 50. This is associated with the iron loss women experience during menopause and pregnancy. These symptoms include joint pain, abdominal pain, and fatigue. More serious signs of disease can include diabetes, heart failure, and impotence. As I discussed earlier, there are no factors that influence the onset of the disease itself, but rather there are factors that influence the onset of the symptoms. These factors include eating raw seafood, alcohol consumption, and iron consumed in diet. The most common diseases that influence expression of hemochromatosis are anemia and chronic liver disease. Unfortunately, there is currently no cure for hereditary hemochromatosis. However, cheap, effective treatments are available, most notably phlebotomy, which is the removal of blood to reduce iron levels, much like donating blood. If one suspects they are at risk of hereditary hemochromatosis, there are a number of tests available to detect the disorder. The two most common blood tests are called serum ferritin and serum transferrin. The serum ferritin test measures the amount of iron in the liver, and serum transferrin measures the amount of the protein called transferrin in one's blood. Both tests are typically done together, and numbers that are out of normal range can be an indicator of hemochromatosis. Both are done together because there are other diseases that can lead to elevated iron levels in the body. If the physician wants to confirm the result, a genetic screen can be done for the defective HFE gene. If one is found to have the ailment, there are a number of treatment plans that are available to discuss with the physician. Thankfully, scientific advances have greatly helped us understand a great deal about the disorder. For example, animal studies using mice have helped confirm the role of hepcidin in iron regulation. Twin studies have confirmed that hereditary hemochromatosis is largely asymptomatic in children in early years of life. Perhaps most importantly, the field of genomics, the study of the complete set of genes in an organism, has proved invaluable to learning about the disorder. Genome-wide association studies have helped show genetic locations linked to iron disorders and tons of other valuable information. The beauty of science is that it's always growing and ever expanding. Every day, new technologies and techniques are being discovered that can help solve the issue on hand. We always pose new questions, but find new answers, and the cycle goes on indefinitely. There's still much more we have to learn about hereditary hemochromatosis, but there's so many things we have already answered. We know the role of the HFE gene in its protein product. We know who's at risk. We know how it can affect someone's life. We've come a long way from 1955 when Finch and Finch first discovered the disorder, but the fight against hereditary hemochromatosis is far from over.
Living with hereditary hemochromatosis has not been easy, but I've learned how to manage. I have a relatively strict diet that prevents me from eating things like sushi, limits my drinking, and pretty much limits my iron intake, but I'm grateful it keeps me healthy. I have to go to a phlebotomist about twice a week for my blood treatments. It can get in the way sometimes, but it's better than the complicated surgery I might need if I didn't have the treatments. However, I'm happy I can get help and get back to the things that I love again, like basketball.